Hi everybody, my name is Brendan Ronk and I'm going to be talking about Everybody Lies. It's a book I've been reading this semester. It kind of talks about all the data that the internet has and has to offer nowadays, and it's kind of been an interesting read for me because I've never really thought about the amount of data that these companies collect and really the types of data. It used to be, they know I'm a 20-something-year-old, I'm into baseball, I have a dog, stuff like that, nothing too serious. But after reading this book, it's kind of been mind-blowing. Almost every detail of your life, everything you search, everything that you're involved with online, people collect and they can tie it right back to you. One of the big highlights of this book is that there's kind of this seedy, dark underbelly to data collection. And it's really highlighted, kind of, as I mentioned earlier, by the website Pornhub. The kind of things that they collect, they know what kind of things people are into, they know trends on those kind of inner sexual desires. And these are things that people would not openly talk about, and things that people are honestly scared to even talk about sex in general, let alone their disgusting, depraved porn habits. And the sad thing is that these companies know this data, and whether or not they say that it's anonymous, and whether or not it actually does get tied back to you, at the same time, there's evidence that people are not who they say they are. They say, I'm not into anything like that. I'm not that kind of person. But the reality of it is that they actually do search for these things. So Kathy O'Neill wrote in her book, it's called Weapons of Mass Destruction. She specifically outlined these negative consequences as they pertain to social injustice. And whenever people have these data mining software, they collect all this data, and the data that they collect is kind of like, as I mentioned earlier, people searching the word nigger more often during the presidential primaries. Now, whether or not that had anything to do with those primaries at all doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is that data got out to somebody who abused it and ended up creating issues within the community of the United States because of it. I think that there's a lot of this data where there's a little bit more correlation than causation with each other. Obviously, if it's correlated, there's still something there, and you could definitely make a case for that. But there's correlations between the consumption of strawberry Pop-Tarts and hurricanes hitting Florida. Whenever a hurricane hits Florida, rise of strawberry Pop-Tarts goes up. Does that mean that they're actually connected? Probably not. But at the end of the day, it's kind of a statistic thing where you can sit there and if you really want to, you can manipulate it and make it work. And that's kind of why I'm leery about some of these statistics. Whenever you sit there and you just provide a very cut and dry explanation of these statistics, and you don't offer any context, don't offer any explanation, you just say, here's the stats. And it's almost always not the whole story. Did an interview where he said, sometimes I'd love for these people's porn viewing history to be released to the public because everybody would be so embarrassed for a few days, and then afterwards everybody would be like, it's time to be a little more open-minded because I thought what I was doing was wrong because I kept it secret, but this guy over here likes the same thing, and this person over here likes something else. That's okay too. Everybody in the end would actually end up becoming more open-minded. But the positive impact of it is that we're learning more about the true nature of people. And instead of learning about the ideal person, the perfect consumer, the perfect customer, all that kind of stuff, we're learning about the actual people. Like, we're learning how people actually behave, not how they're supposed to behave, how they actually do. And that, to me, is, I think, the best thing that we can do as a race. I think mankind needs to learn how everybody actually behaves. Yeah, I'd recommend this book to pretty much anybody who's intellectually inclined to learn about this kind of things. It's definitely uncomfortable at times, definitely a little dry sometimes, but at the end of the day, I think the lesson learned from it is incredibly valuable. Thanks for listening to my book review. Again, my name is Brandon Ronk, and I'm with WT. That's my book review about Everybody Lies. Big data, new data, and what the internet can tell us about who we really are. Thank you.